Those are my kids! Dad!
Dad!
Dad! No, it's all right. Everything's gonna be all right. There you go. All right, Daddy's here. Mr. Hook, I want those kids out of that net in less than 1 minute, or you better get an attorney and hope to God he's better than me.
Who are you?
I'm Peter Panning, attorney at law. Those are my children, and I want them back, please.
Those are your...
children.
These are your children?
Yes, they are.
And you're...
Peter?
You're Peter?
Yes.
You're Peter?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're Peter?
Yes. Is there an echo in here? Yes,
My great and worthy opponent?
Yes.
It is a great pleasure to welcome to Cinema Showcase one of the finest actors in the world, Mr. Dustin Hoffman. Dustin, thank you for taking this time out. It's very good to see you.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Whalen.
When you accepted Hook, and by this time I think everybody knows, you've long been able to choose the films you want to do. What appealed to you most about the character of Hook?
I'd never done anything like it before, not since studying in class at least, because there the accent was on the theater, and we do scenes from restoration plays, and Hook reminded me a little bit of those restoration characters. I'd also seen some Gilbert and Sullivan, and though I don't sing, I thought, what great fun. And there was a bit of that, I thought, in the character. Robin Williams and I both admitted to each other as late as yesterday, after going through 124 days of shooting, that when we both accepted the roles, he of Peter Pan and me of Captain Hook, neither of us had ever read the book. Neither of us had ever seen the play. Neither of us had ever even seen the cartoon or read the play. We just know in a very superficial way.
Yeah.
So it was the script that the characters in the script were exciting, and also the chance to work with Steven Spielberg on this material. It was a jump. And then when I read the book and discovered that the character emulated himself after Charles II, never having been to school, I didn't know much about Charles II, so I read up a little bit. And Anthony Powell, the costume director, immediately sketched in the way Hook would look, or I, as Hook, would look as Charles II. And suddenly it became exciting to try to fashion that, despite the fact that he's a pirate. So we knew that underneath it all, he had his guns and everything, but that he saw himself in kind of William Buckley-esque, or kind of, regal terms.
Well, you are absolutely the best dressed pirate I think I've ever seen.
Well, you see it in the books, amazing, and I went through a lot of used bookstore huntings where I went and I said, can I see all your copies of Peter Pan? And I just wanted to look at the Rackham-like illustrations.
Right.
And it was amazing how much of them were consistent in his finery,
All right, what about the voice and the mannerisms? How long did it take you to get just what you wanted for Captain Hook?
Well, in the book it said he went to Eton, and I was lucky to be given a speech coach by the name of Liz Smith, not the celebrated columnist, but this wonderful dialectician. She happens to be English also, and she and I agreed that we should adhere to the book and try to play him with an Eton accent. She then found a retired ambassador from the United Nations, from England to the United Nations, who had gone to Eton, and got him on tape, and I listened. I wasn't able to meet him because I couldn't get back to New York. And then she and I began working, and she was really diligent. I mean, she's what's the word, perfectionist to shame. And, every sound she constantly corrected me on, and she hung out in the trailer and in the makeup truck, and most of the time during the day you're not filming, you're just waiting for a shot. I would talk in dialect, and she would correct me. And it wasn't that difficult. It was harder I once tried to get a Chicago accent, and that's much more difficult because it's subtler. But this is this is musical in the sense that you can hear it. And when you start talking like that, and when you've got false teeth and this outfit, something starts to come out of you, whether you like it or not.
Do you think that there will be those critics who view the Captain Hook character as so, let's say, somewhat different than what you usually... It's not, let's face it, it's not an introverted character. It's a very broad, though finely honed character. Do you think some critics will think it is less of a challenge for an actor of your caliber to play Captain Hook than to play Midnight Cowboy or any other films you've done?
Possibly. I mean, I thought of it as a challenge. You never know what critics are going to think in terms of what's a challenge, or if everything should be such a challenge. But I thought of it as a challenge when I did it, when I accepted the part. I was surprised that it came as easily as it did. I've had a lot more trouble with other characters in terms of them taking so long to drop in. I guess critics have to be critics.
Yeah. But in your mind, certainly the character was no less of a challenge than anything else you've done, really.
Well, someone said to me the other day, how do you approach doing so-called children's theater? And I didn't think of it as such. I even wonder if writers who write children's books, if the craft is any different. I mean, the craft is the same. I once saw a panel of pornography filmmakers on television, and I found it so interesting to see how serious they took their work. I mean, it was an art form to them. So I went at this like I do any part. I couldn't meet very many pirates, except the modern day ones, which I did. I mean, I tried to find him living today, and I found him with many more redeeming features than a lot of people in business today, because what you see is what you get. You kind of know where you are with James. As he says, I don't lie, the truth is far too much fun. I don't know how many people you'll find that, you know,
That's so true.
you are sure will be telling you the truth. He won't stab you in the back, he'll stab you in the front.
Right. I think everyone who sees this film, first and foremost, will have a great good time, and it's a movie that will be around, I think, for a very long time. And I want to thank you for being with me.
Well, thank you. I'm very proud to have been a part of making this Steven Spielberg film, which to me is as close to a children's classic as I'll probably ever get a chance to be near. And I'm happy to be a part of it.
It's time to tell you at last.
Tell me what?
How far back can you remember, Peter?
I remember the hospital on Great Ormond Street. You work with orphans. You taught me to read. You arranged for the adoption by my American parents, Hank and Jane Banning.
You were 12, nearly 13. I mean, before that.
There's nothing before that.
Try, Peter, do try.
Nothing.
You know, when I was young, no other girl held your favor the way I did. I half expected you to alight on the church and forbid my vows on my wedding day. I wore a pink satin sash. But you didn't come.
Grandma?
Yes, I was an old lady when I wrapped you in blankets. A grandmother. With my 13-year-old granddaughter asleep in the bed, Moira. And when you saw her, that was when you decided not to go back to Neverland.
Where?
To Neverland.
Moira! Gran, I'm gonna go get Moira.
Do you know, I've tried to tell you so many
Maybe
times.
the cup of tea's ready.
And
Count
I
on me.
knew you'd forgotten.
Listen, I'm...